the straw, the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was
Oh
when?
yes, yeah. We eventually moved the whole kibbutz down to our land site because the kibbutz was very far away, up in a mountain, very difficult to move agricultural machinery and equipment down to the fields, which was a good 2 hours driving with a tractor speed through the mountain tracks and whatnot to get to the fields, and then 2 hours back. It was a ridiculous thing to do. So we'd move the stuff down once and create an encampment of the tractors and the supplies, fuel, tools, and also guards and personnel who would be fed there as well during that period of time.
And then the next day we were leaving.
Okay, look, inside the drawer where I'll keep my things, you'll find that blue wallet of the travel agency. Or you can just bring it to me, and I'll have to tell you the thing.
Should we wait until you've seen the... Did you start again from... Just speak a sec?
Talk about the period.
Yeah. I want you to talk about the straw that broke the camel's back and why the kibbutz moved down from the hill to the...
During the first year of our time in kibbutz in Sorah, we were very far from our fields, and to take the tractors down to the fields over mountain tracks virtually, because the road was far away and very narrow. This was a long time, 2 hours and possibly even more, in the morning and the evening. It was obviously not the way to go. So when we had any agricultural work that had to be done, we'd take the tractors or whatever equipment had to be taken down to the site and create an encampment with supplies, tools, fuel, and so on. And food would be brought out to the workers, to the tractor drivers, and other personnel from the kibbutz main kitchens, main site, and this would go on for a week or possibly more until that operation was completed, if it was ploughing or if it was reaping. This went on for almost the whole of the first year, and it became obvious that this could not continue. And it was decided, because also the site had been set up as a military outpost. That's why it was high in the mountains in the most inaccessible place. But after a year of relative peace after the war, it was possible to disband that site and move the whole kibbutz to an area close to its lands in the valley, in the Sorek Valley, which is the valley where Samson and Delilah's exploits in the Bible are recorded. And this was done a year later. In that following year, the work was obviously much more organized, and access to fields and so on was possible. But there was still terrorist, you could call it, or incursion activity from Arab bands or thieves, it's hard to know what, that were either marauding or stealing or sometimes harming and sabotaging equipment, pipes, water pipes, sometimes stealing fuel tanks and so on. So we used to go out with guards at night particularly, who would be on guard during the whole period of the night, sitting in the middle of the field with some rifle or arm. And this was a very difficult job for a one night watchman to do, to just stay in one place and the tractor gradually ploughing around, a slow plodding business, furrow after furrow. And what we usually do is, instead of sending just an ordinary person to do the guard duty, to send a second tractor driver. So one driver would work for an hour or two, while the other one was doing the guard duty, and then change over. And this is quite a successful thing, but in one particular occasion, a very strange thing happened. I was doing the guard duty, and every now and again, sometimes the tractor driver would stop, and to clear a stone that had got caught in the plow, or to some weeds that were getting in the way. And he'd stop his tractor, and you'd see the tractor stop and the engine idling. And then after a while, you'd hear the tractor go back again to its normal work. On one particular occasion, this happened, and he didn't restart the tractor full speed and start moving away. And he didn't. And you waited, and you got up from your place, and you wondered, and you started going forward, and you approached this place, and you realized that maybe there is something wrong, and you were there for the person of protecting from something that's going wrong. So something has gone wrong, and somebody has done any attacking or anything like that, you better keep clear of the lights, because they're forward tractor lights and they're rear tractor lights on the equipment, so you can see. And in the middle is a triangle of darkness. So approaching this tractor in this triangle of darkness, I approach, and I see that the tractor driver is slumped over the controls. I mean, oh my God, this is exactly that. And trying to quietly creep up and approach in case whoever has done this deed is around. And I don't see anything, and I get up to the tractor, and I touch the chap, and he wakes up. He had fallen asleep over the control. It was a very, very tense moment. There were also other times, because we knew that there were armed Arabs in the area, and there were forests. By that time, when we arrived in Sorah, there was not a single tree in the whole area. There was one very big bush, and we called it the Lone Tree. But after a number of years, the Keren Kieme Jewish National Fund, one of its main activities when the early immigration started was to employ the immigrants in tree planting. So small trees were beginning to come up on the mountains around the kibbutz, and this was a perfect hiding place of trees of 1 meter high, particularly at night. And it was the most difficult time to go far from the kibbutz, say 4 or 5 miles out, and do tractor work at night. And you're approaching and very often you were plowing between the main riverbed and the mountain range just behind it, with about a 400 meter field, and working between the mountain and the riverbed. And as you approach the mountain head on, with the lights going, it's all fine. And then you turn around and come back again, and you get a funny feeling in your back, because your back is to where any action is going to come from, going on night after night. It was a strange incident. I happened to be in the same field that I'm mentioning to you in 1956. 1956, the Sinai campaign started, and I was out in the fields doing the agricultural work, and I see a vehicle coming out from the kibbutz. You could see the kibbutz 3 or 4 miles away from this particular place where I was, and a dirt track coming out, and I see dust rearing out of some vehicle that's coming out at high speed from the kibbutz. And this vehicle eventually approaches me and gets to me, and people drove with this vehicle right up to a jeep, right up to the tractor, and said, "Leave your machinery behind and come back home at full speed." War's broken out, and then that was the situation that would have happened at that time. Agricultural, everything stopped. You got the machinery back home as fast as possible, and people had their allocated duties in war situations.